Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. Welcome to the Jet Zone, right here on Sports War Radio and streaming live simultaneously in three different places: the Jet Zone Facebook page, the Jets_Zone Twitter page, and of course on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. And welcome to a brand new episode of the Jet Zone. Again, you can watch us visually on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube streams, also on @BoyGreen25 as well, and on YouTube. And the audio will be later uploaded to wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, that is everywhere. That will be uploaded later today. Again, we're recording. Welcome to the month of June, baby, because training camp's coming up at the end of July. And feel free, by the way, throughout today's show to get involved in the comment section wherever you're watching. Like I said, Facebook, YouTube. For Twitter, you have to jump into one of the other two streams so your comments are visible to me on StreamYard, but feel free to do that action as well. On today's show, we've got a lot of things to get into, including the latest sound bites from Robert Saleh's press conference earlier today at OTAs, and he had some interesting things to say, and we're going to dive into all of those. Plus, any of your questions, any of your topics are also welcome here on the Jet Zone, of course, so comment and drop your topics wherever you may. But I have to be honest, I have to start the show with a shameless plug, because yesterday was a moment for me that was pinch yourself worthy. As you can see, if you're watching the visual live stream, again on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, in the top right-hand corner of your screen, the top left for me, is my Boy Green logo. And we dropped it a couple weeks ago, telling you guys about this new logo that was designed, and I told you that a merch store was coming. Well, the merch store is live, and folks, I ordered several of the merchandise myself because I wanted you guys to see the quality if you haven't purchased already. Again, if you want to support Boy Green, support the cool stuff we're doing on the channel, and you're a fan of the show, then you can buy some Boy Green merch. It's in the YouTube description down below. And if you're on one of the other portals, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, just jump over to YouTube, youtube.com/BoyGreen25 to show your support. I'm going to show you a couple of the items that I bought, okay? Here's this. So you're going to hear that on the camera. That's nice. And in the microphone. We have an official Boy Green pint glass. Yes, there it is. Booyah. Boy Green pint glass. That's a thing. And my logo, of course, for those listening, is the Boy Green glasses, which says boy on one lens and green on the other, and the beard. So that is, in fact, the Boy Green pint glass. We'll be dropping some Dewey's action in there. This is kind of a pinch me moment because I can't believe that it's there. We are also wearing a shirt. Okay, look at that. Okay, look at that, the Boy Green shirt. That's a Kelly Green, and I also have a few of the items behind me. So here we go. Paul went a little crazy with buying his own merch because I wanted you guys to see some of it. So we got a couple of things here and different options. If you go down to the Boy Green shop before we get started on the show, there's all kinds of things. Tank tops, classic shirts, premium shirts, hoodies, pint glasses, as I just showed you. Here's another one. So I'm wearing a Kelly Green. That's the color. Here, each shirt has multiple color options. Here's another one. This is forest green. Booyah! How about that? Forest green. Yes, sir, for you guys watching. Hey, how about another one? Huh? Look at that. Booyah! The black tank top. Boy Green. Boom. We are everywhere. Like I said, we got tank tops. We got pint glasses. We got classic shirts, premium shirts, whatever you want. So make sure you guys support the brand. Feel free to do it. We've had I will just say, as I'm putting kind of the Boy Green merch aside for a second, I have to say that the response from you guys has been outstanding. So thank you to everyone who's already purchased stuff. I was getting tags on social media because kind of the first batch of items that came to me and also people that purchased it were receiving their first batch yesterday. And I got to say, it was a pinch me moment to see my Boy Green burly beard on other people's bodies. Women, men, didn't matter. Animals, tag me on social media if you end up getting some of this merch. So feel free here on the show. That's enough of the shameless plug. So I really do like that, and it's a lot of fun. With that being said, let's get into the show. So first off, Robert Saleh had a bunch of things to say at the press conference today. So I do want to do some catching up on a bunch of those comments. And like I said, throughout today's show, feel free to jump into the comments if you'd like to get involved on today's show. Also, I saw Madden By the way, real quick detour. Madden dropped their Madden cover, and of course they picked John Madden. There are multiple versions of the video game. For those who don't know, I'm a big Madden fan. There are multiple versions of the Madden video game cover. Like there's all Madden, there's the standard edition, you can pay all this different stuff. But on every version is John Madden, who unfortunately passed away back in December, a football icon, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, a legend, of course, of the sport. And he passed away at the age of 85 at the end of December. Super sad. And he will be on the cover of Madden, as he should be. I'm glad it was not a player. It was only fitting. Madden did the right thing. So shout out there, by the way. I tweeted that out earlier. One of the comments that jumped out to me from Robert Saleh today, and you can say it's just coachism, right? That's just simply coach talk. And that's fair if you want to say that. But essentially, Connor Hughes, of course, the great reporter from The Athletic, we had him on the show in the past. He said to Robert Saleh about Ahmad Sauce Gardner, obviously, this is part of his question, I'm paraphrasing, but obviously he was the number 4 overall pick. So, that buys him, obviously, he's going to be a starter, his draft position, blah, 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 blah. And then Robert Saleh said, I want to make this clear that no matter where you were drafted, how high, wherever, that doesn't buy you diddly. And that currently that Sauce is on the bench and he will have to earn his spot, is what Robert Saleh said. He said it's Bryce Hall's job, and Bryce Hall is working like hell to make sure he keeps it. So, again, you could call that coach talk if you want. It was like the Zach Wilson earning the quarterback job thing, because it wasn't like, because Joe Flacco wasn't on the team till the midseason trade. So it wasn't like, Mike White and James Morgan at the time were legit competition. But, I mean, you look at the cornerback spot, DJ Reed is obviously a starter. Michael Carter, the second's a starter in the slot. And then there's the other outside spot where, again, most of us have assumed, and rightfully so, that Ahmad Sauce Gardner will be the starter. But Robert Saleh says, hold the phone. He's going to have to, quote-unquote, earn it over Bryce Hall, who, again, is a player I really like. I don't really buy any of the trade stuff. Again, you need depth. Rex Ryan said it a million times. You can never have enough corners. So the more corners you have, the better. So any of the Bryce Hall trade stuff, I wouldn't entertain it. It would have to take something ridiculous that no one would give for me to do it. So again, the Bryce Hall trade noise is nonsense. Sauce, of course, is going to win the job, but Bryce Hall will be invaluable depth. And so Brandon Eccles, by the way, who got a lot of starts last year as well. But you love the comment for the coach. They got to earn it, and that's going to earn some points, certainly in the locker room. But again, Sauce starting on the bench for some Jets OTAs action. I found that very interesting. And here is one of the more juicy nuggets from Robert Saleh's presser today on June 1st. Again, we're recording this, the Jet Zone, for those listening to the audio later after the fact, of course. So we've been doing that audio for a decade. We've been recently doing the visual for less than a year, but it's been a lot of fun consistently every week putting up the live video feed. But the interesting note was Robert Saleh spilled some tea on his quarterback coach, Rob Calabrese. And this guy's only been in the NFL since 2019. Prior to that, he's a big college guy, a lot of college stops. But Robert Saleh said that Calabrese was, quote unquote, courted in terms of job and coordinator opportunities this offseason. He chose to stay with the New York Jets. Remember, Mike LaFleur is the offensive coordinator, but they did do some roster shuffling. John Beck, who is Zach Wilson's personal quarterback coach, he went back to do his duty as the personal quarterback coach in his own, private business. And Matt Cavanaugh was let go. And so they had a lot of different names in that quarterback room, but Robert Saleh kind of wanted to scale it back and do it from that perspective. And Rob Calabrese, a guy who could have taken a coordinator job, the one job we openly knew about was the Kentucky offensive coordinator job. They were very upfront that they were considering Rob Calabrese. But Saleh says on top of that he also considered other job opportunities, but ultimately he chose to stay. And I wrote about this in my piece for Heavy on Jets. Again, I am the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. And in that piece, I talked about, again, the Calabrese Kentucky job and things of that nature. But I will say that this guy is taking a huge step forward. He got a nice opportunity at the Senior Bowl. That was a really nice gesture by Jim Nagy and the Senior Bowl executives to try to let some of these lower-level coaches get more opportunities to kind of coach and get their feet wet in the game. But Robert Saleh says he has a future coordinator in him and things of that nature. In a perfect world, as I wrote about in my piece, if Mike LaFleur ever leaves and the outside noise says that Mike LaFleur is going to be really good, he's got the last name, so nepotism, that should help. And you have the last name, you have the offensive wizardry, eventually he'll be a head coach. That's the thought. Who knows? Is it 2023? Is it 2024? Is it never? I don't know. But people are talking about that. And if that is the case, the Jets in a perfect world would love to promote from within and move Rob Calabrese from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator. And he's a young guy, and the Jets have a lot of faith in him. So we will see if they ever get to exact that part of the plan. Speaking of Mike LaFleur, by the way, Saleh gave him a lot of credit today for his quote-unquote peacock chest. And he was talking about how he's been in the weight room and he's been on a diet and he's trying to keep on with the good looks of his big brother, Matt LaFleur, of course, is the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. I thought that comment was funny from Robert Saleh. Something else that I thought was kind of interesting, and this guy is kind of floating under the radar, not kind of, I mean, he is completely floating under the radar as it pertains to the New York Jets, and that's DJ Reed. Now, we knew the Jets were interested in adding a cornerback, but we weren't sure of who, because they were doing some homework on Stephon Gilmore. Prior to free agency, there was some buzz that they'd be interested in like a big money guy, like a JC Jackson or maybe a Carlton Davis. That did not prove to be true. And ultimately, they pivot to DJ Reed, who's a guy that I think, on a general sense, a lot of NFL people did not know. They were not, the casual fan was not aware of. And Robert Saleh is plugging this guy right in. And he called DJ Reed one of the quote unquote hardest playing dudes he's ever had. And this quote from earlier at his press conference said, quote, "You can almost hear him grunting on tape and the volume is on mute. How hard he plays, how important every single rep is to him. And that kind of energy could potentially be infectious to the rest of the group there from DJ Reed." So some high praise from Robert Saleh earlier today for DJ Reed. Let's also get to the other part of the headline because, as a radio guy by nature, I've been doing radio for about a decade. We are known for teasing like, oh man, after this, we'll get to, the sauciest thing that Robert Saleh said. More coming up next. And in theory, that should put you on the edge of your seat to wait for what I'm going to say. In this part, I want to answer the headlines immediately of this YouTube video and the podcast for those who are listening. We answered the first part that about Sauce starting on the bench, and he's going to have to, quote unquote, earn his starting job and take it away from Bryce Hall. Robert Saleh's words. The other one, he gave a Denzel Mims update. Rich Cimini asked old Robert Saleh for a Denzel Mims update. And why don't we do this? We're going to play this bite for you guys here from Robert Saleh earlier today. Let's flip that up so you guys can see that. So let me do a quick share screen here, and I'm going to play this clip for you again. This is from Robert Saleh earlier today being asked about Denzel Mims. There's a couple questions and back and forth here. Here's Robert Saleh.
How is Denzel doing in terms of grasping confidence?
Denzel's doing better. He's second time around. He's in fantastic shape. Looks really good. He's working on the things that we've asked him to work on with regards to the catch point and all that stuff, contested balls, but and obviously grasping the offense. So obviously we all, the whole organization has work to do in terms of reaching the point where we're not thinking about what we're being asked to do, but he's a lot further along today than he was a year ago.
You say, just quick follow-up, when you say he's in excellent shape, was that ever an issue with him?
Well, he never got a chance with all the sicknesses that he had to really when I say shape, because of the things that happened to him last offseason, he was never able to maintain the lower half power that is so underrated for a receiver to get in and out of breaks and be explosive. And so you see all the explosiveness now because he's in fantastic shape and ready to roll.
Okay, there you go. And he's ready to roll, Robert Saleh says, again on Denzel Mims. A couple of things here. Excuse me, still getting over that sickness. A couple of things here. First off, on the Denzel Mims stuff. There's been a lot of hype about Denzel Mims this offseason. Now, from both the coaches, Joe Douglas, everyone, hype on old Denzel Mims and what he could potentially be. Now, that is one of two or three things. it's either hyping him up so they can trade him, a la Chris Herndon last year. They did the same thing where they talked up Chris Herndon, and then they ultimately flipped him later for a 4th-round draft choice. Number 2, it's all real. And Denzel Mims is going to seize the day, be a key part of this offense, and live up to the 2nd-round hype. That'd be great. Or 3rd, this is just a whole lot of off-season hoopla. We're on June 1st. We're going to get these stories where, wow, this guy's in the best shape of his life. And we get those stories every year, and then they end up doing nothing. Obviously, I'm rooting for the kid. I want Denzel Mims to be a factor. I want him to be a cog in this machine. However, it seems like a long shot because someone would have to get injured a la Corey Davis for Denzel Mims to get those kind of opportunities. Number 2, he doesn't play special teams or hasn't proven capable of playing special teams, and his ceiling on the roster is like wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. So again, it appears to be a long shot. I hope Denzel Mims surprises. He's in phenomenal shape is what Robert Saleh says, and they've been working on a lot of the things. Now, I think Robert Saleh brings up a couple of good points there. Again, for those who don't remember the series of unfortunate events that poor Denzel Mims went through, he had a bout with COVID. He had a bout with food poisoning. He, in general, struggled going from the old offense to the new offense. And as Robert Saleh additionally told us, that the lower body strength for one Denzel Mims was never fully there because of all the hits he took from COVID, food illness, and all these other varying factors. He was never able to get kind of his sea legs under him, so to speak, for him to be able to take that next leap and do some things. So take that for what you will. Again, I hope for the guy. It's been great. He's worked with some of the great wide receiver coaches this offseason. The hype train is in full effect. We will see if, in fact, it is real or not real. But good update there from Robert Saleh. On old Denzel Mims. We always like a Denzel Mims update. Those are always important as well. Another important update that I think it's worth mentioning, again, for everyone who's watching, wherever you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. First off, show your support, like the video, hit subscribe down below, and feel free to get involved in the show. Comment your questions, topics you'd like to see addressed here on the show, or anything of that nature. And again, as always, check out the Boy Green merch, the Boy Green merch store, baby. That's in the YouTube description down below. Let's talk about Mekhi Becton. We got another update from old head coach Robert Saleh on Mekhi Becton. I think this is another clip worth playing here, so we're going to throw this one up on the big board as well, and let's do that here and hear from Robert Saleh. Again, this is on old Mekhi Becton, and a couple of Q&As here. Here's, again, Robert Saleh on Mekhi Becton.
At the tackles with Mekhi and George Fant, what's going to go into who plays on what side, and when do you expect to make that decision?
As soon as we can get Mekhi here, I think hopefully for minicamp. I know he's dealing with the birth of the baby. Again, far more important. But once we get them all in here and we're able to work through it all, we'll be able to work through that part of it.
So you don't expect him here until minicamp?
We're in communication with them. It's no hurry. I mean, it's not like we're doing 11-11 stuff anyway. So
Is he working on some right side footwork and hand placement and things like that down in Texas?
Yeah, they're working on everything. I know that he's just working on overall strength and getting the knee back and all that stuff. And from everything I've been gathering, he looks really good.
All right, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear that he's looking good. I mean, that is the big thing for us, is to make sure that he's looking good. That's what we want to know. That's what we want to see. And that's the storyline of the offseason, quite frankly, how vitally important it is for Mekhi Becton to be healthy, because really it has a domino effect on the rest of the team. Of course, protecting the blind side or right tackle, which Robert Saleh addressed. We'll get into that in a second. Regardless of where he's playing on the line, there's not great offensive tackle depth. Your next guy up is Max Mitchell, who is a 4th-round pick out of Louisiana, which, by the way, we're going to continue our Meet the Fleet series. That's on my YouTube playlist, where I've been talking to college football insiders across the country from wherever each Jets draft pick came from to learn more about them. We have another one that will be dropping tomorrow on the channel on Michael Clemens, one of my favorite players in this entire Jets draft, to learn more about. So that video will probably drop tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that one on Michael Clemens, our Meet the Fleet series on YouTube. Make sure you guys check it out. A couple episodes are already out. Garrett Wilson, Jeremy Ruckert, Breece Hall, and we're doing them on all the draft picks. So keep an eye out for that. But in terms of the offensive tackle depth, right now you got Max Mitchell, who, again, from what I gather, not that I was watching Ragin' Cajun Louisiana football every week, but from the people that I talk to and I trust, he's a developmental guy. And maybe if you're really optimistic, he's a 2023 potential starter at tackle, but at right tackle. We will see ultimately if that's the case. But the long story short, quite frankly, people, is that it's not the tackle depth is not great. I would be pursuing a veteran, a Morgan Moses, a la from last year, or an Eric Fisher, Dwayne Brown. I'd prefer Fisher to Brown. Brown's getting older. But they need some kind of guy that can rely on just in case things go south, because George Fant has never played a full season in his entire career. And Mekhi Becton obviously has not either in a much shorter time span. But the fact of the matter is his health is so important to everybody else, because if Mekhi Becton is playing great, he has Hall of Fame traits and everything else, that's protecting Zach Wilson. If he's not, then you got to play a round of musical chairs at a variety of positions, which, again, I'm not a massive fan of. But to Robert Saleh's point, he said they will not make the left tackle, right tackle decision. And in case you guys missed it, throughout the offseason, George Fant was forced to jump over to left tackle after Mekhi Becton got injured in the Week 1 season opener against the Carolina Panthers, and he was there for the entire season as Morgan Moses came off the bench and played in at right tackle. There's no Morgan Moses this year, but who plays where? Right now, George Fant will have an opportunity to battle for the left tackle spot, but as Saleh said, they will not make that decision on who's playing left or right until everyone reports to camp. Now, Mekhi Becton is expected to be there for mandatory minicamp, which is in a couple weeks here, so keep an eye out for that. And right now, everything is OTAs, is voluntary. He is not here yet, according to Robert Saleh. So, again, whether he plays left side, right side, he played a little right side in college, that being Mekhi Becton, so we will see. I just want the best combination of guys. Whatever musical chairs puts the best five out there is ultimately what I want. But they're from Robert Saleh, that everything he's gathered on Mekhi Becton is he looks really good, but they're not willing to, quote unquote, pull the trigger yet on who's going to play where. But I think it is worth noting that Elijah Vera-Tucker, they're a youngster that look really good. They flipped him to the right side, so they have proven willing to move and groove, be a little flexible as it pertains to that. All right, let's look at some comments here coming in. Chrono Kenny, you look like a big fajita grill guy. I'll be honest. I have had fajita grill in the past, but I am like a plain Jane guy as it pertains to fajita grill. I get the colored chips they give you, the reds, the blacks, the whites, with some extra seasoning, ground beef, and shredded cheese. Boom, that's it. It's like a nacho plate, essentially. I don't get anything else. So I am pretty basic as it pertains to fajita grill. So not a massive fajita grill guy. I've not had it in a couple months, but I do like fajita grill. Jets Carpetbagger. What's up, Boy Green? What's poppin', baby? Welcome to the show. Appreciate it. Let's go to Ragna Jet here, another fan favorite. If everyone is healthy, do you see a huge difference in our defensive line stopping the run versus last year? I definitely see these defensive ends setting the edge, forcing inside. Does Q leap? JFM inside. Need Ogunjobi. Yes, I can confirm. There was a report that the Jets are still interested in Quan Alexander. I can also share that the Jets are still interested in Ogunjobi. But again, it takes two to tango. So I can confirm the first report, and I can confirm my report that, of course, yes, they're interested in both. But there's medicals, there's the players coming to a level of acceptance with the financials. So 100% they are interested in both of those guys. If everyone is healthy, do you see a huge difference in our defensive line stopping the run versus last year? I will say this on that part. What the Jets are hoping for is that the sum of the parts can fill the void. In other words, like Foley Fatukasi was supposed to be this run-stuffing phenom, and he was for most of his career if you look at the PFF analytics of when he started. But the Jets haven't exactly replaced him, but they replaced a lot of other pieces. And if all those other pieces are good, by virtue, the run defense, in theory, should be better. But will it be? I mean, we're going to have to see. I would like another defensive tackle in there. In terms of things I would like to see before the season, linebacker depth. Throw me a Quan Alexander. It would make me feel a little better. They've got and I got to be honest, this has to be one of the most wide open competitions in a training camp in the history of the NFL. At safety, Jordan Whitehead is obviously one starter. 2 years, $14.5 million. He's a starter, obviously. But the other side, could be one of like 6 guys starting legitimately. LaMarcus Joyner, Ashton Davis, Will Parks, Elijah Riley. Now I'm going to start forgetting guys here. Jason Pinnock could be another one of those starters. And then Tony Adams, the undrafted free agent who got about $110,000 guaranteed money from the Jets, which was the 3rd highest on the team of any undrafted free agent and 3rd highest of any safety in the undrafted free agent market. So he got some serious bones. And not only does he have a path potentially to the 53, we've seen undrafted free agents make it in the past. Kyle Phillips, Bryce Huff, Javelin Guidry, I think, was another guy. So, I mean, there's these kind of guys that could not only make the roster, but make a difference. So safety's got to be like one of the most wide open competitions randomly that I've seen in a long time. Any one of those guys could start. But again, the Jets, to answer the first part of this question, they're hoping that the rest of the defense being risen with their other level of play should help their run defense. Ultimately, we'll see. JFM will both move inside and outside. Ogunjobi is not a great run stuffer. If you look at the analytics, he is a really good pass rusher. 7 sacks last year, and more pass rush is always good with me. So Ogunjobi, Akeem Hicks would have been nice. He signed with the Buccaneers. I like Ndamukong Suh. And I wrote a piece about this earlier this week. Suey! Give me some Suey action, baby. I know that he's been voted the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair style, you know, a little nature boy. Woo! Little dirtiest player in the game action. But I'll tell you this. Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich, the collection of them, have been looking for this defense to have an attitude. And Suh would bring that. First off, he's been an elite run stuffer his entire career. Again, some of the beginning parts of his career he wasn't, and the latter year he wasn't, but the breadth of his career he has. He's been an elite run stuffer, and he's got some pass rush as well. So I would sign Suey. He's not going to cost a lot of money. The Jets have actually pursued him several times in the past, including I think it was 2018 is when they offered him a contract, and he turned it down or did not accept it, however you want to view that. So Suey would be a nice pickup too. So we'll see. So, right. But hopefully, you know, you get like a Jermaine Johnson who's really good against a run. He could set the edge. You kind of force things back inside and you can kind of bottle it up. But ultimately, we'll see. We'll get our first trial in week 1 against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Good question, though, Ragnar. LT, what up, boy Green? Are you a Chipotle guy? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to sound like an idiot, LT. I don't even know what Chipotle is, to be honest. I have no idea. I've never had it, and I really don't know. Does it just mean Mexican? Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm probably an idiot. I have no idea what Chipotle is, to be honest with you. The only thing I've really had, like I said, in anything of that realm is just plain chips with whatever seasoning they bring you, and some ground beef and cheddar cheese. Boom. That's it. I'm a plain guy, dude. When you look at my food menu, it's very plain. Like when I get a burger, I get bun, burger. That's it. The only time I venture a little bit away from that is breakfast burger. Every Sunday, I go to a local diner here. It's been a tradition with my fiance, and I get like a breakfast burger that's got burger, egg over easy, a little crispy bacon on top. And depending on which waitress takes my order, depends on the egg I get. I like the egg over easy because then the yolk runs all over the burger, which is sweet, rich juiciness. And then you can also sop it up with your fries. So that's kind of a good combination. And occasionally I'll get the fried egg. Like if they take the order wrong, they'll give me fried egg. Fried egg good. Fried egg is good too, but it's just not the same as the egg over easy. So, so I have no idea what Chipotle is, to be honest with you, which probably sounds stupid. Let's go. Dark Soldier Crew. Welcome to the show, baby. And love having you. I saw you, by the way. I was over the weekend, Monday. When was it? I don't know. I was on Buffalo Jet Fans YouTube live stream, and I saw a bunch of you commenting, asking questions like, "Oh, Paul, you feeling better?" I saw you hop in there with the crew, but I didn't want to like take over his stream and start answering random questions that weren't coming up on the big screen. So I wasn't trying to take over his channel, but I did see you guys. Like Dark Soldier, I saw you hop in there, and there's a couple other people as well. So I didn't want to take over the whole shish kebab, but I appreciate you coming, my boy. So crew it up. Love it. And by the way, for the people that were asking if I'm okay, I'm going to be honest. This is the longest I've been sick in my life. And it's been weird ever since I came back from Massachusetts, right? I had the weird funny thing in the throat. That was kind of weird. Had to kind of get a bunch of COVID tests. Those were all negative. And then I had this nasal thing for a while. What's going on there? And then I've had this weird throat thing. Like I got a lot of again, I don't want to get too vivid, too graphic. You people don't want to know this, but a lot of mucus in the throat. So every once in a while, I got to go like, and like hack a loogie in the corner. So I got a lot of buildup. I have no idea what's wrong with me. I'm never sick, but for some reason, we've been powering through, baby. We've been powering through. Although I'm getting a lot further through without like a water or something where I have to kind of work our way through. By the way, another shout out for all the new people in the room. Boy Green Pint Glass, go get yours today. It's in the link down below on YouTube, the Boy Green merch store, and I'm wearing some of the Boy Green merch as well. Here you go. Boo. Yeah, let's get the crew thing off real quick just so you guys can see it. Booyah. Boy Green merch, baby. Get it checked out. It's the logo in the top corner of the screen. All right, let's go to Jets Carpetbagger here. Who do you think on roster from last year will surprise most of us with a big jump in performance? That's a great question. Let's see, someone from last year that will give us a big pop. Let me just kind of look around the roster, kind of like in my head. I'm not really looking at like a big board or anything. I'm looking off into the ethos. A player that can make a big jump that would surprise. So Ashton Davis is one. Again, from a trade perspective, he's exactly the perfect complement to Jordan Whitehead. He has the center fielding ability. He's a former track star, so he could kind of play, in theory, that center field position that could surprise. He's a guy for sure. Hamza Nasir-Lardine, again, I think the in-house guys are going to get the first dibs, even if the Jets bring in Quan Alexander, which is probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I still think they're going to give the tip of the cap to Sherwood. He's still recovering from his injury. And Hamza. I think they're going to get the first dibs, and thus they could be someone that kind of makes some things happen. So look out for those two. I'm trying to think of anyone else. It's hard because at wide receiver, they've added so many pieces. It'd be hard for anyone to kind of surprise you that you did see. I mean, Corey Davis, there's another one. I think he's going to have a big jump in performance. I'm not sure if he's exactly who you're looking for or whether or not it's surprising, but I think Corey Davis is due for a bounce back. I think he's going to be pretty good. Dark Soldier. Oh, it's a fast food burrito. I've never had a burrito. It's probably sacrilege. I'm Puerto Rican. I've never had a burrito. I don't know. Go figure. Overrated. Don't tell Jake though. I'll keep that in mind. Let's see. Jake Asman, great guy. Let's see. LT. Chipotle is like a higher end Taco Bell fast food place. Oh, yeah. I don't have Taco Bell all the time. I will dabble. They have a couple. I'm away from home to the radio station, so I could dabble if I ever wanted to. So interesting. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for the knowledge, guys. Let's go Ragnar Jet. Yeah, you with Buffalo is a good show you two had. Yeah, I had never met a Buffalo Jet fan ever in my life until we just did that live stream. I'd heard of him from the Twitter streets. People saying, "Ooh, he's a up and coming podcast. You got to check it out, Boy Green." So I've heard people say it, and then he reached out to me over DM a couple weeks ago, and then finally we're able to kind of connect the dots and do it on Monday. That was a lot of fun. So go support his channel. He's a good dude. He has a giveaway going on. He's giving away like a $50 Jet Shop gift card or something for subscribers. So that's pretty cool. Let's keep going here. Dark Soldier. No worries. I did not take it in any negative way. Good. But yeah, like I said, when I hop on other people's show, like Jake's show, I have the comments open normally so I could see what you guys are saying, or Buffalo Jet fan or whoever. But I normally, like I said, unless if they would have brought, I tell you right now, if Buffalo Jet fan would have brought up crew, I would have let out like a thunderous crew comment. I would have, if he brought your comment on the screen. But again, I didn't want to take over his whole show. All right, let's wrap up with a couple of things here. And any other comments, feel free to kind of send those through. Like I said, we'll be having a couple more things on the stream. Keep an eye out. We're always pumping content. Meet the Fleet series, a brand new video coming out tomorrow. Michael Clemens, kind of learning more about him. He's like one of the biggest mystery men of the class. And the guest I have on for that show has seen like all of Michael Clemens' career. So I think he's going to be very fascinating. Like I said, that should drop on the channel probably tomorrow morning at like 8 a.m. Maybe late tonight. We'll kind of see what happens with that. So Meet the Fleet series. Make sure you guys enjoy that. And then I will just bring this point up. I saw it a few places. So I think it was Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report did an article that said something to the effect of like veterans that could move on, like veterans that could kind of go in a different place, or veterans that should request a trade was kind of part of it. And then there's other nuggets in there, like quote unquote, this, that. Corey Davis was listed in the article as a veteran that, quote, his days may be numbered. something of that effect from Bleacher Report. And I know some people love Bleacher Report stuff. Some people hate it. So take that for what you will. But for me, I think there's like a -% chance that Corey Davis is moved this year. The dead cap is like 10, 11 million, which apparently is nothing because like the Falcons have dead cap for Julio, Matt Ryan, Eagles have the dead cap for Carson Wentz. So I guess anything is possible. But the only way that would happen is if Mims is a superstar, and the only way you could get him on the field is moving Corey Davis. Okay, I guess, but that's unlikely. So I think Corey Davis is on the team this year no matter what. And next year, if you cut him, the dead cap is 660,000 and change. So it's like nothing. So you could move on easily if you wanted to. However, if he has the blow up like I think he will, then he could basically stay on a contract. Because again, it's relatively cheap. It was a 3-year, $37.5 million deal, about $12 million a year. Nickel here, nickel there. So that's another possibility. So I do not believe his days are numbered. Maybe in a long-term sense, they are. But I think Corey Davis is due for a bounce back for sure. So I just wanted to throw that out there as something I've seen in the Twitter streets. Let's go back to Ragnar Jet on YouTube. McGovern, I think, is getting better, especially if Becton is rocking. AVT, Tomlinson, and Fant, they will lift his game. We could have a real good offensive line that Zach can really soar in the run game, too. Yeah, again, I've made fun of Conor McGovern in the past. Other people have. His first year with the Jets was terrible. He was signed in 2020, 3-year deal, like $27.5 million. His first year was god-awful. Look at the PFF numbers. I mean, they're terrible. But I will give a lot of credit to Damian Woody, who was the guy who predicted Conor McGovern was going to have a better year. And one of the real reasons that he thought he would is because the talent around him was going to be better, and inevitably you're going to be better. That's Damian Woody's insight on the topic. And he was right. You know, AVT was good. Now, Greg Van Roten was trash, but when they replaced him with LDT, that raised Conor McGovern's game, and he had like one of the best PFF years of his career. There's one place he wasn't great. I don't have it in front of me. His overall grade was good, and his runner pass block grade was good. The other one was mediocre. But long story short, he had a really good year, and he's going to play even better with what Joe Douglas called one of, if not the best guard combinations in football with Lakin and AVT. So I think Conor McGovern is a solid guy. He's not a top 10 center, but he's definitely not a bottom 10 center. I think he's just right in the middle, perfectly average, and there's nothing wrong with that, or slightly above, depending on how you interpret that. So I think he's good, but he's probably goner next year, but not this year. The Jets had multiple chances. They were sniffing around Ryan Jensen. The year before that, they sniffed around Corey Linsley and the draft guys like Creed Humphrey and stuff like that. But they did not pull the trigger. So if they didn't then, I don't think they will now. That's kind of my take on it. But the offensive line does have a chance to be really good, which could set up the success of the entire team. Jets carpetbagger here on YouTube. Hypothetical. Brady decides to spite Belichick, calls Joe Douglas and asks to be on the Jets for a year so he can beat Belichick as a Jet. Jets sign him 1 year. Zach is back up. You're angry, thrilled, or need therapy? Interesting. I probably need therapy because Tom Brady haunted me for 20 years. And then to just turn around and accept him as my savior, that would be hard. For some fans, it wouldn't be. They respect the heck out of him and think he's really talented. And hey, if he's on the Jets, that's great. I would just need therapy, which could be both good and bad. I think that kind of splits the difference here. And maybe he would ever do that in this weird, crazy hypothetical. But it sounds like Tom Brady hates the Jets almost as much as Bill Belichick does. And I don't know if that was because Bill Belichick told him a lot of things behind the scenes or whatnot, but that's an interesting hypothetical. I probably need therapy to try to convince myself as it. And also, again, I get this hypothetical. It's just kind of a funny game. To me, once the genie comes out of the bottle, there's no way to put the genie back. And what I mean by that is Zach Wilson. As soon as you start a rookie, it's over. There's nothing you could do. You can't pull him to the bench and then put another guy in and then eventually bring the rookie back. Like, you can't go herky-jerky. You have to have a level of conviction. So, again, if you go veteran first and rookie rides on the bench and then he waits for his turn, that's one thing. But you can't go opposite. Have rookie, veteran, and then right. So, Zach Wilson, again, because this wouldn't happen this year. This would be like a 2023 thing when his contract shakes free. You know, Zach Wilson would have started 2 years, and then you're going to put him on the bench, but not to say that it's over, but just in a temporary thing, I don't think that would work. But it's kind of a funny, it's kind of a funny, just hypothetical. So Good work, Jets carpetbagger. John Hepburn, hey, fellers. What's happening? What's up with the Brown Center? He also asked J.C. Treader, of course, the NFLPA president. The fact of the matter is J.C. Treader is a solid player, but I think the way the Jets interpret it, from my perspective, is J.C. Treader is, if anything, a marginal upgrade. This is how I believe the Jets view it, and thus it's not worth it. Like if it was a significant upgrade, Morgan Moses style, remember Morgan Moses over Chuma Edoga and Conor McGovern, like, okay, then they'll move. But in this particular case, I don't think they view, obviously, J.C. Treader as a significant enough of an upgrade to disrupt the continuity. But that's a good question, John. Ragnar Jet, did you watch Michael Carter's interview with Eric Allen yesterday? He wants his nickname to be The Voice. You'd be the first to push that out on Twitter. DM you the link. Great interview. Yes, I will say this. I did watch the full thing, and I will say that for those who don't know, Ragnar Jet is like my secret ghostwriter. He sends me links from all over the internet of interviews I would have either seen on my own or not. Like the Official Jets podcast, I watch a lot of those interviews. So those I see. Robert Saleh press conferences I see, but some of the ones that are off the beaten path, like you'll see a couple of the videos I tweeted out, that's all Ragnar Jet. So a major shout out on the show to Ragnar Jet for being such a stud. I will say the Michael Carter interview with Eric Allen, I'm going to be honest, is really weird. You guys should listen to it, watch it, and take away your own takeaways, but it was kind of weird. So Eric Allen brings up to Michael Carter like, oh, Joe Douglas at the Combine said, gave you the nickname Young MC. What do you feel about it? At first, Michael's like, it's fine. And then he just kind of like is honest. He's like, actually, that nickname needs work. He said, I'd rather my nickname be The Voice. And then, like, if Eric Allen didn't ask for an explanation, Michael Carter wasn't going to give one. Like, yeah, The Voice. That's the nickname. First off, that's one of the weirdest nicknames I've ever heard for a football player. So that's just kind of weird. And then also, as a nickname guy, I have to say, you can't give yourself a nickname. That is against the rules. The Boy Green nickname, for those who don't know, and also I have to address the controversy on social media from earlier this week, so I'll address that right now. For those who don't know, you see the Boy Green name, right? I got a freaking pint glass. We got T-shirts I'm wearing right now. I got other T-shirts. Look at these T-shirts, man. Boy Green T-shirts, okay? So it's cool. So I've embraced the Boy Green nickname and everything that I got 7 years ago or something. So when I came into radio, terrestrial radio, that's where I got the nickname. I was told as an intern, unpaid intern, just coming in, just getting work in. I wanted to get a foot in the door. They told me that part of the radio process is you getting a nickname from the powers above you, the hosts. And I will tell you that they said whatever nickname they're going to give you, you're stuck for the rest of your life, basically. So obviously I was a little nerve-wracking. I'm like, man, what if they come up with a stupid nickname? Well, I'm going to be stuck with a stupid nickname for the rest of my life? Anywho, long story short, my radio partner, Jim the Man Child Lurch, he got his own nickname from his days in college, and you can ask him that story. But for me, the Boy Green nickname was one of two nicknames he was considering, as he told me. The first nickname was Elroy. And again, that would have been the stupidest nickname in history, so I'm glad, because you'd be on the Paul Elroy Esden show, and you'd be asking yourself, oh, Elroy must just be his middle name. No. Apparently, it's like some character in the Jetsons, and I could go, hey, look, Elroy, Jetsons, Jets, get it? And I'm glad I don't have to do that, because that would have been stupid. So that was almost the nickname that almost was. There's trivia. Just in case there's ever a Boy Green trivia night at your local pub, the other nickname I almost had was Elroy, and that would have been stupid. However, I did not. He gave me Boy Green because of my Jets and Celtics love. Now, it's time for me to address that. Let me hide this, Ragnar Jet, because I want to look at the fans. I revealed on Twitter earlier this week that I am a Boston Celtics fan. And I understand from the fans that a lot of you were angry. I lost probably, I'm not even kidding, like 50 followers after that tweet. There's a lot of people that have now disowned me as a Jets fan. And that hurts me, I will say. It hurts me very much. But here's the thing. My family, because I want to explain this on video, because sometimes on tweets, texts, and things, they get misinterpreted. My family, my father and my mother, were raised in the Massachusetts area. My mother was born in Rhode Island, and my dad was born in Gardner, Mass. Okay? So all in the New Englandish area. So I had Boston roots for two sports teams, the Boston Celtics and the Boston Red Sox. And again, hated sworn enemies, of course, of any New York team. I get that. I was never a Patriots fan. Never. I want to make that perfectly clear. My dad was a diehard, and is, by the way, a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. So he bought me a lot of Cowboys gear, and by virtue, I don't have a choice. I'm a child, right? So I'm like, oh man, I want to be like my dad. So I'll be a Cowboys fan. But painful, so two things happen. First off, painful moments happen for the Cowboys where they lost in brutal fashion, and my dad is in the fetal position crying over these losses for the Cowboys. And for me, I felt nothing. So part of it was like, man, I can't be a fan of a team that literally I have no emotions with, that cruel things are happening on the TV that's sending my dad into a seizure. And for me, they do nothing. So I knew at that point that I was not a Cowboys fan. And number two, my grandfather randomly gave me the nickname of the Jet. Why? How? I don't know. Was I fast around the house? I have no idea. But he called me the Jet. And I have an old school, actually custom Jets jersey that he got me. Okay. Or my father got me through him, of the Jet. That was my nickname back in the day. And he used to do the JETS chant. Now I'm a kid. I don't know all 32 NFL teams. And I think there was 32 at that point. I was so young, right? And the expansion of Texans and everybody else. But the point is this, okay? I got that Jet nickname, and he kept doing the JETS chant. I'm like, what's the JETS chant? What is that all about? Boom! Watch a Jets game once, and it's over. I've been a diehard Jets fan ever since. But the Boy Green nickname I got 7 years ago on the radio was not just because I'm a crazy Jets fan. I used to represent my sports teams at the radio station. I'd wear this like Jets shirt I'm wearing right now. I'd wear Celtic shirts, and he just saw green all the time. That's also my favorite color. So he incorporated that into the name. So I had to address the controversy. I know people were pissed off on Twitter saying, wait a second, how in the hell? And I've dropped a few breadcrumbs over the years. First off, if any of you saw me on the Jets Lounge, I was giving DJ Bieneme, who's a Miami Heat fan, a lot of crap. But I try not to, because the Twitter account of Boy Green, I am a persona of the New York Jets. So I normally don't tweet out anything but Jet stuff. I'm a crazy Survivor fan. I cut that back because Jet fans don't care. They're like, we don't care about your favorite TV show, Paul. Or the Celtics. Like, we don't care. And don't even care even more so because it's a Boston team. So I normally don't tweet or do anything like that except Jets. But of course, reaching the NBA Finals for the first time since 2010, and also having a chance to win a championship for the first time since then, and the first time they would win it potentially since 2008 when I watched that NBA championship with my father. And that's a moment I'll always remember. So I had to address the controversy. I am a Jets fan. I am a Celtics fan. I am a Red Sox fan. In my power rankings of sports, because I asked this question to the Badlands crew and they ended their show on it this morning. Jets and NFL football are my number one in terms of power ranking of sports. That's number one. It's not close. Like, I am a diehard Jets fan. When they're in the Super Bowl, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Number two is Celtics NBA. Like, I'm a massive NBA fan, but it's firmly number two. So if they win the championship, which I have been alive to see, I saw in 2008, like, it'll be good and great, and I will celebrate. It'll be exciting, but nowhere near as much as when the Jets win. And then the Red Sox are like a third, although you can mix in a bunch of sports, college football. I'm an MMA fan, so UFC and all that kind of stuff and all that jazz. But I will tell you that I am a Jets fan and I am a Celtics fan, and I'm glad there are a few others like you out there that got into my comments and DMs and said, Paul, it's okay, you're not the only one. But I wanted to address that on the show, so I'm glad that came up. All right, let's go through a couple more comments here on social, and then we'll sign off here. But anywho, yeah, let me get back to this real quick. So again, Michael Carter, he's trying to give himself his own nickname, The Voice. I'm not a fan. He did also say, you're not supposed to give yourself your own nickname. No, you're not. So take Young MC, take MC. And by the way, Michael Carter blocked me on Twitter a couple of months ago, apparently. I have no idea why. I like Michael Carter. But the point is this. You can't, create your own nickname. That's against the rules. Jets Carpetbagger, are there any NFL teams you hate more than New England? No, there's not. I hate New England almost more than I love the Jets, and I'm not kidding. I hate the New England Patriots. I hate their guts. I hate when they win. I think they're arrogant. I hate members of the team. Mac Jones annoys me. Bill Belichick annoys me. I hate the Patriots. There's no team in the NFL that I hate more than the Patriots. And there may be a time, because I've spoken with a lot of Jet fans over the years, there's a lot of Jet fans who hate the Dolphins. And they go back to the good old days of the rivalry and Marino and Ken O'Brien and all that. And even before that, quite frankly. And I get it. But I don't hate the Miami Dolphins in that way. I actually have friendly banter every week. If you guys are new to the channel, again, feel free to hit subscribe. If you've been fans of the show, you will see a segment I do during the season. We'll do a lot more live streams this year, since it was such a raving success during the offseason and draft season. We will definitely do more shows during the season. But one of the episodes we will do every week, it's basically behind enemy lines. And I speak to an opponent who we're talking to. So when it gets to Dolphins time, I talk to Brian Miller, a Finn fanatic. And I love it. And they're fun. And I don't despise the Dolphins. I don't like them. I don't like the Bills either. But I don't hate them the way that I hate the New England Patriots. I don't have that same ferocity or intensity. Maybe that will change here with the Tyreek Hill stuff and other stuff. Maybe that'll bubble at Tua and all that. Maybe that'll bubble back up to the surface. Let's go to Paul on YouTube. Any early June 1 cut news? For the Jets' sake, no. The guys to keep an eye out for are a handful of people. Again, Larry Ogunjobi, again, they're interested. Quan Alexander, they're interested in. It's going to be money and whether or not they're willing to accept their roles. They're not immediate starting gigs, but there's paths to them. The Jets are interested in Deion Jones, the linebacker out of Atlanta, who has a direct correlation to Jeff Ulbrich. That could certainly make a lot of sense from that perspective. I'm trying to think of anyone else. No, I mean, that's basically it. They're looking at defensive tackle, linebacker. I would like a veteran offensive tackle. I'm not sure if the Jets are exploring it in the same way, but I would. And maybe another safety, but it kind of depends on that. But that's really it. So pay attention to Deion Jones. If he shakes free, whether through release or a trade, he's a guy to watch. Still love you, Paul. Thank you. I appreciate that, John. John, Garrett Wilson's nickname is G Willie. I've heard a couple. I've heard G Dub apparently is a nickname he goes by. G Willie. I think there's another one too, but G Willie. Okay, that's interesting. And let's throw this up, a super chat. And again, folks, the first super chat actually in a couple weeks. Feel free. That is a unique way to support the show when you're watching these live streams. And again, we also have pre-recorded videos. We'll drop like tomorrow's Meet the Fleet or tonight's Meet the Fleet. But these super chats mean the world because they help support. You guys notice the new studio, the pop filter, the microphone. And like I said, I got the gear, right? So we've got the Boy Green merch, Boy Green pint glass, the Boy Green shirt I'm wearing right now, the Boy Green shirt's over there, which again, Boy Green official merch store, that is in the description down below the link. And great super chats like this, which you can do on YouTube, which gives a monetary tip to me and allows your question or comment to get answered, which I'm about to answer here from Ed Vargas down below. Make sure you do that, guys. You support the channel, you support local content creators, and it means the world. So again, thank you so much, Ed, for doing this. This always means the world. So let's get to your comment here. Hey, Paul, how's the family? Trying to go to the Baltimore game. You are the best, my friend. And thank you so much. Me too, actually. I'm looking at the schedule to see what games. Again, I would love to go to all the games, but I'm a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I have to balance because I have a job as a New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. So they like me writing articles and doing shows and things of that nature. And when I'm at the game, there are logistics I have to figure out. But I'd love to go to a game. Baltimore would be a fun one. The home opener, September 11th. The Ravens, a sexy team. So fingers crossed. I've not bought any tickets or anything of that nature. So we will stay tuned for that. But I would love to. The family's doing well. My daughter, let's see. Oh, yeah, so it's June. So she is 4 months old. She just had a doctor's appointment earlier this week. She's measuring in good. She's weighing good. She's I think I'm going to mess up some of the numbers probably, but 12 pounds and 15 inches or something. I think my fiance sent it to me. Yeah, so she's growing like a weed, which is amazing. And, she's just kind of developing a personality. So to have my first kid, my daughter, is beautiful, and she's great. And it's great to spend time with her. And I'm working a lot too, but balancing the world. So my fiance is a superstar. So the family's great. We do have another trip. I'll bring my computer and make sure, and for all the shows and stuff coming up. 23 inches. Fiance is in the other room as she listens to my podcast. There you go. 23 inches. I knew it was something in that realm. 23 inches for the baby. But I will be going on another trip that's at the end of July, early August. That's right when training camp is starting, and then the preseason games action will get underway. I believe I leave on like July 27th. So I'll be heading down to Mississippi, and we will still be doing shows, articles, and all that fun jazz as we get ready for the season. But I'm hoping for Baltimore. Baltimore would be a fun one. So if we do, I'm seeing a couple other content creators do this. If you guys all want to meet up for a game and we could try to make something happen, that would be totally rad. So hit me up on social or on YouTube or whatever, and hit me up, and we could try to see if we could kind of put a Boy Green thing together and have a bunch of you guys, a bunch of the loyal listeners and everybody kind of all put together so we can all do a game together. That'd be cool, so I can meet a lot of you in person. That'd be a lot of fun. So Ed, as always, thank you so much for the super chat, and all you guys, thank you so much for the commentary. It's always fun. Again, this Jet Zone podcast has been going strong, the audio version, for over a decade, and the live streams have been even more fun, so we're going to keep doing those throughout. Stay tuned, everybody. On YouTube, we will have a Meet the Fleet Michael Clemens interview. That'll be coming up, like I said, either tonight or it'll drop tomorrow morning, so stay tuned. Hit the bell notification on YouTube. You'll never miss a video, and we'll be back soon with more content. It's June, but there's plenty of stuff to discuss, as always, right here on the Jet Zone. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time here on the show.